Buttercup here, and welcome back to Starbase Wyoming. And today we are going to continue with Rubix, talking about crime scene investigation and doing some analysis with some fingerprints. So I hope you're ready. Let's go.
Hi everyone, it's Rubix coming back at you. Today we're going to continue our forensics. All right, so last week we talked about how important it was to have memory recall at a crime scene and how you have to pay attention to all the little details because that could really make or break whether or not a crime is solved. So today we're going to focus on fingerprint investigation. So we're not really going to focus on the types of fingerprints as far as the patterns in our ridges of our fingers, but we're really going to focus on kind of matching up fingerprints. So if you're not aware, fingerprints never change throughout your life. So the fingerprints that you were born with, you will have your entire life. And we know that no fingerprints are alike. They're very unique to us. No one else in the world has your same fingerprint. So you don't need any fancy materials for this, such as like the brushes or the powder for dusting fingerprints. We're going to use things that we maybe have around the house. So what we're going to do is I took a piece of paper and I just traced my hand, and I used a washable marker to just put the ink on my fingers, and then I just transferred over to my hand so you can see which finger it belonged to. And so what we're going to do with this is we're going to look at these prints, and then I also have a glass here, and I had someone in my family put their fingers on it, and I'm going to see if I can compare their print to mine. So I have a piece of tape right here, and I'm just going to show you how we lift the print right off of it. So you're going to just put the tape right over it, and then you're going to just peel the tape right off. And you might not be able to see this until you hold it up to the light, but you should be able to see a unique fingerprint. And so what you're going to do, if you have a magnifying glass, that's perfect. If not, you should be able to look at the lines on the tape from the fingerprint that you just lifted. And you should be able to compare that to the prints that you did yourself on your own paper and see if it matches up to your print or what the differences are between your fingerprints and your family members. Say you did a sibling or your parents or a friend, and try to see how unique they are or what the similarities are between them. And I think you'll really find that even though the prints, they might look very similar, they're not. So with this one, this is what helps solve crimes, because as they gather and collect fingerprints, they enter it into a CODIS database, and that has millions and millions of fingerprints listed, and that's how they are able to match that up and link it to a suspect. So I hope you guys have fun on this one. I'll see you next time. Bye.
Wow, I did not know you can lift fingerprints just by using tape. So now you know how you can do that if you are investigating something. Next, we have Plume, who will be teaching us about the planets and talking about some astronomer. Hope you guys are interested. Stick around.
Hi everyone, Plume here. Today we're going to be talking about planets in space and scientists who are called astronomers. An astronomer is a scientist who studies planets, galaxies, black holes, and stars. Let's talk about a famous astronomer. Everybody thought that the Earth was flat, when in reality, we know that it's round. But guess who discovered that first? Somebody had to be really smart, right? Let's talk about the first famous astronomer. The first famous astronomer's name was Eratosthenes. He proved that the Earth wasn't flat after all. He measured the size of the round Earth by using the sun, and he was only 211 miles off from the actual real measurement of the Earth. Good job, Eratosthenes. Well, folks, that's it for today. We're going to talk more about planets next week, so make sure you tune in.
Wow, Plume really had some really neat information about the planets. Next, we have Bump, and he will be continuing his whole instruction on how to build the Hubble telescope. So if you're ready to start, let's go.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Bump's Place on Bump, and today we are going to continue building the Hubble Space Telescope. Now, last time I gave you a website to go to get the directions and to get the templates. But I did find another site. If you didn't go there, you can go to Hubble Telescope Paper Model. Go ahead, type that into your website or on your computer, and it'll take you to the exact same thing. You'll be able to get the templates, and you get out the written directions that we're going to follow step by step to build our Hubble Space Telescope. Here you go. Here's the finished product that we're hoping to get to. All right. So, without any further ado, we're going to get into this. First off, on page 1 of your directions, it gives you the materials that are needed. It gives you some options. And on this side, it tells you some techniques to use as you build your model. The last thing it says is be patient. Take your time. If you need some help, go ahead and ask Grandma and Grandpa, Mom or Dad to help you out. Now, you're going to need a pair of scissors. I have some markers for coloring. I have a hobby knife. I have a pencil for marking. I have some glue. I have my ruler. I have my workspace here. I have a pad underneath here so I don't mark the table. I have some black construction paper that I'm going to be using later on our next video. All right, so in the first step, it asks you to go ahead and cut out these dowels. Now the dowels are going to be for our satellite solar panels and also for the antennas. So the first thing it does, it asks you to go ahead and measure out 9 3/4 inches or 23.5 centimeters. I'm going to go ahead and use the centimeters. I get my ruler, put my dowel on there, I get my pencil, I mark 23.5 centimeters. Now, all I need is my scissors to cut this off. All right, so I have it marked. I take my soft, I just cut around it. I can hear it cutting through. All right, and there you go. All right, it asks you to do 2 of these. This first one, you're going to go ahead and color it silver. Now I use a marker to color my dowel silver. You can use paint. You can use spray paint. If you use spray paint, make sure it's a well-ventilated area and you have everything covered so you don't paint everything around you, right? Or you can take tin foil and wrap it around this also, all right? And the second one, I already measured it out. I measured out my 23.5. On the second one, it asks you to paint it black. So go ahead. I use a marker. You can use paint, spray paint, again, well ventilated, and color this black. All right. And we'll be using that a little bit later in the directions. All right. So the first part we're going to do is build the aft shroud. All right. We have our template here. You're going to go ahead, take your scissors, and cut these out. All right? Now, on this, as you can see, on the piece that I've already got cut out, we have these jagged edges. All right? I just cut along it, and then I go back, and I take my time, and I take my scissors, and I cut out each little triangle in between the blue ones. All right? It also asks you to score on the card. Now, what does score mean, okay? What that means is you're going to put a scratch or some type of mark onto your template. I like to use the end of my ruler. It's blunt, it's round at the end, all right? And on here, there's a little dotted line, all right? So before I cut it out, all I do is I put my ruler on there, or something that works well, and I just follow that dotted line, and I follow all the way down to the end, scoring along that. And what that does is it helps me bend the little teeth over. All right? So, another way you can cut these out is taking your hobby knife, right? And you can cut along each little triangle again and cut those out. So let me just demonstrate that. All right? So I just do is I make a line, okay, and then I just follow the line on each side, and it comes out kind of like teeth. You just kind of pull it off on the side, and you just pop them off. And just throw those away. We don't need those. The other way I do it is I take my scissors and I cut those like so. All right. Then I can just go the opposite direction. And again, they kind of fall out like teeth. All right. Now, I have both pieces cut. Okay. On each piece, there's a number, and it's in a circle. On this one, it has the number 1. On this one, it has the number 2. On the number 2, it has the number 1 in a square. And on the number 1 piece, it has the number 2 in a square. That's telling you that number 2 is going to fit onto number 1, and number 1 is going to fit onto number 2. It says it all in directions if you didn't follow that. All right? So, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go take my glue. All right, and take that off. And what I'm going to do is just put a little bit on that blue edge. It does explain that in the directions. All right, I just have to do one piece. I don't have to put the glue on both. You don't have to put a lot on it, just enough to cover it. All right. All right. So, here's my number 2 piece, goes on my number 1 piece, because there's that. And I just take that. All right.
Wow, well, I hope you guys got really far on your telescope today. And then next week, we'll continue this series and see everyone with their new information. So until next time, bye.